There's not a lot else to announce to you today, except there's one thing that I need to mention. There'll be another video, an unexpected one on this channel tomorrow, and it will involve some things that I need to talk to you about. It will involve some aspects of how my career is going to go going forward, and there's just some things I've been putting off that you need to hear about. And so just giving you a warning about that. You will probably want to check out that video when it releases. Anyway, I will be back to talk to you then tomorrow.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
Brandon Sanderson is a dick.
Oh, he's technically Mexican and 3/4 American, but for 3 generations he's got that nationality. Great-great-grandpa headed south, whose kids had kids then turned around. It's not what the show's about, but it's why he's Mexican technically. It helps that he was raised in New Mexico, lived in Guadalajara for 2 years, speaks fluent Spanish with a bachelor's degree in language and taquito.
All right. We gotta talk about Brando McSando here for a little teensy bit because there's been some developments. If you're new to the channel or if you missed my video on my top favorite books of 2021, I will just reiterate this really quickly. Brandon Sanderson is one of my favorite authors. I wouldn't say he's the greatest living author. I think there are other people out there right now that have better prose, and their finished product is at a higher level than what Brandon Sanderson writes. But that is not to say that Brandon Sanderson's books are not of good quality. Brandon Sanderson is really good at doing what he wants to do, which is to write like fantasy pulp fiction. And saying that even sounds bad, but I really mean that in, like, the best way possible. I really enjoy pulp fiction. Star Wars is pulp. It's sci-fi, a really silly concept if you actually think about it, but it's done really well, and with a lot of care, which is why people liked the original Star Wars so much. I see Brandon Sanderson's books as the Star Wars of fantasy, with maybe the exception of his Stormlight archive series, which is like his magnum opus, which once he's finally done with it, it's probably gonna be more influential than The Wheel of Time, or dare I even say The Lord of the Rings? But what Brandon Sanderson does really well is he writes fun books that are just a joy to read, and they happen to be fantasy. He's really good at coming up with magic systems and exploring those magic systems and having cool fantasy fights and big ol' swords, baby. I really enjoy his books. I credit Sanderson for being the person who got me reading again. I used to read all the time when I was a kid, and then high school kind of ruined books for me because I had to read really bad books in high school, and I started cliff noting it until like the end of my college. I never actually read a book or a textbook at all because I hated reading. Then a good friend suggested that I pick up Sanderson, and I did. And ever since then, I've been reading fantasy nonstop because I remembered, oh yeah, I used to like reading. I really enjoy Sanderson. The books may not have the polish of like the Kingkiller Chronicles, The Name of the Wind, which in my opinion is like a perfect book. But the plus side of Sanderson is that he's releasing new content all the time. I think it's definitely safe to say he is the fastest living author by a long shot. And I can't even think of any dead authors that wrote faster than him. Terry Pratchett wrote really fast too, but his books were a lot shorter than what Sanderson's pumping out, like 4 times a year. 'Cause he's insane! Anyway, I may personally enjoy The Name of the Wind or First Law a little bit better than all of Brandon Sanderson's books. But Brandon Sanderson is by far one of my favorite authors. And Warbreaker especially, it's my personal favorite book of all time. I know it's not the greatest book ever written, but it really connects with me on a personal level. And it's my personal favorite. So, enough gushing over the man, enough praise, because today he's done something so horrendous and evil that I don't know if I can ever forgive him. What's today's video about? It's about two videos in particular. Let's take a quick trip in my little time machine and go back to yesterday. I was having a nice day with my kids. My son had a day off from school, and we were enjoying some time together, and I look at my phone and I get a notification, hey, Brandon Sanderson has another one of his weekly updates, which he does every week because he's crazy. It's only a minute long. I give it a quick watch. Hey, let's see how far he is into writing Mistborn 7. Okay? We watch it, and he drops this little doozy.
There's just some things I've been putting off that you need to hear about. And so just giving you a warning about that. You will probably want to check out that video when it releases. Anyway, I will be back to talk to you then tomorrow.
This was supposed to be a fun 1 minute little update video, and instead he drops this horribly butt-clenching news. Because if you follow Brandon Sanderson, he has said several times that his biggest fear of all time is that he will die before he gets to finish the big stories he wants to tell. He's said this on multiple occasions, which is very understandable because Brandon Sanderson had to finish the Wheel of Time for Robert Jordan when he died. And he's planned out a bunch of series that he started writing, and he's like, I want to be able to finish this story, right? He has other books that are kind of on the back burner that he'd like to get to eventually, but it wouldn't be the end of the world if they never got written. So his biggest fear is that, the big overarching stories that he started, he wants to be able to finish them, and he feels it would be a huge letdown to fans, and it would be if he didn't get to finish them. Also, that's a very understandable fear, and it would be a huge letdown for the fans as well. And he said this so many times that upon hearing this news, it wouldn't be beyond the realm of possibility to jump to some sort of conclusion which would involve some sort of health problems on the horizon. Maybe Mixando is dying. And he let everyone believe that for 24 hours. So, ever since then, I've been on eggshells, and this morning I was anxiously refreshing my YouTube to see, oh please, tell us what's happening, because he said he'd give us the update today. And he did. He gave us the update today. And the worst part is, I can't talk about it, because he said this.
If you don't mind, I'd like you to preserve the surprise for your friends and family. Please share this video, but when you do share it, don't spoil the surprise, if you can help it.
There is a surprise in this video. Brandon Sanderson has been lying to us for years, and he comes clean in this video. And we're not allowed to talk about it at all. So touche, Brando Mixando. All I can do in this video is recommend you go watch his video where he explains it. And I can't tell you what it is, but I will say it's a good surprise, not a bad one. He's not dying. Okay? So, Sando, you're a dick for making everyone think that you were dying. And thanks for the surprise, I guess. You jerk. Still gonna read all your books for some reason. I will honor your stupid wishes and not talk about the content of your video this week.
So, I'm re-recording the ending of this video because I was originally planning on honoring Sanderson's request to not spoil the surprise, but that was this morning, and since then, apparently the entire internet has seen his video, so there's not much for me to spoil. So here's your last warning. I'm going to talk about the release. If you want to see the surprise, go watch his video and then come back here and then hit like and subscribe on my channel. So apparently the last 2 years, Brandon Sanderson wrote 5 secret books in addition to like the 7 books he was already working on. Because it's crazy, okay? I wasn't originally going to do any speculating until next week, but he just announced he's going to be revealing the title of one of them next Thursday. So I got to get all my speculating out now while it's still relevant. The 5th book, he said he doesn't know how he's going to release it yet because it's geared towards younger audiences. He might do a graphic novel for it, so that's not part of his Kickstarter. Oh yeah, by the way, there's a Kickstarter where you can get 4 of his secret books, all delivered sometime next year, and within the first hour it was uploaded, it broke $2 million in sales, and it is continually going up as we record. I'm looking at it now. It's definitely going to break 13 million. I assume at least 15 million by the end of the day if it keeps up at this rate. So yeah, Brandon Sanderson just made $10 million. And the crazy part is, like, these prices are really good. You can get all 4 ebooks for $40, $10 a book. And you can get all 4 audiobooks for $60, which is cheaper than most audiobooks. If you want to get your hands on the physical copies, it's going to cost more because shipping's a thing. But still, not bad prices here. And if you want to go crazy, there's even these, these monthly loot boxes, which I think are super cool. I've never really personally been much of a loot guy myself. I'm not exactly a collector, other than the very practical use Dungeons and Dragons miniatures, which you can see in the back of my videos all the time, which I use physically in games. I don't really like collecting trinkets that just collect dust, but I know a lot of people do, and this could be right down your alley, baby. So, I mean, this is just crazy. I want to look at the 4 different books that we know about and try and guess what they are. Right now, they're only known as secret projects 1 through 4, and we have the cover designs for all 4 of those. There was a moment in his video where if you pause, you can see the title for one of these books, which he later said in a live stream is the title for Secret Project Book 2. But it's really blurry, hard to make out. I can see what looks like medieval. The rest it's hard to make out. Let me know if you got any guesses of what you think that's going to be. We will get this official title come Thursday, though. So, and he said in his live stream he left that little Easter egg there on purpose to drive people crazy, and I hate him. It's also been confirmed that Secret Project 2 is not part of the Cosmere, but books 1, 3, and 4 are all part of the Cosmere. And he said books 1 and 3 are very accessible to new readers in that they are part of the Cosmere and there will be references to the other books, but it's not for new readers. You don't need to have read everything to pick them up. So they'll be very similar to the Warbreaker series, which is just a standalone novel you can pick up and read, and you don't even have to care about the Cosmere. Part of the reason why I like it so much, I was hoping that one of these books would be Warbreaker Part 2, which he's wanted to write for a long time, but hasn't gotten around to. And I don't think that will be the case at all, because I'm pretty sure books 1 and 3 will take place on worlds that we haven't seen yet, or worlds that we've only seen in little novellas that haven't gotten a full book yet. But Secret Project 4, Brandon has said, is focused on a character that we have seen before that hasn't been the focal point of any book yet. And that one looks kind of sci-fi-y to me. You've got some little floating, they look like spaceships, but they could be floating planets. You've got like a big old sun behind him. It looks like some industrial buildings, not so much like medieval fantasy. And he's got this big old glowing thing on his shoulder, which looks more futuristic, and the style of his clothing is significantly more modern to me. So I think that this could probably be the book about Hoyd that Brandon has wanted to write for a long time. I originally originally thought when he announced that one of the books features a character we've seen before, that he'd finally gone and written the Hoyd book, which he's been talking about for years. Originally, he said that won't be written until Stormlight Part 1 is over, but he's on book 5. He's on the last book of the first arc, and so it wouldn't put it past him to sneak around our backs and write the Hoyd book before the 5th book of the Stormlight is finished. But now, knowing that that book with the character we've already seen is Secret Project number 4, and seeing the cover, I don't know if that's the case any longer. This looks like a younger guy. A younger Hoyd probably wouldn't be in sci-fi land. It still could be Hoyd's book. But I really don't know who that could be. I've definitely lost hope for Warbreaker Part 2. That's not going to be one of these books. I also originally thought that book 2 could possibly be the Hoyd book because those balls look a lot like Shadesmar, and it would be funny, if he had a gun and a hat, but that one's not part of the Cosmere. If it's a character that we've already seen, it means it's at least originally from one of the planets we've already been on. So we can rule out a lot of places. It's not going to be Stormlight, so it's not going to be anyone from Roshar unless it's one of the people who've crossed over. I doubt it's anyone from Warbreaker because he is eventually planning on writing Warbreaker 2, which leaves Elantris and the Emperor's Soul. Seeing that kind of clothing, I could see this being a character from Elantris. It could also be a character from the Mistborn series, but that's kind of in the same boat as the Stormlight for me. He's still writing in the Mistborn universe. He's on book 7 right now. So I don't think that the spin-off would be from there. I think it's probably from Elantris or one of the other novellas, like Sixth of Dusk. I honestly love Brandon Sanderson, but there is a lot to keep track of, and I am not as up to date as I need to be to figure out who this is. So if you have any clues, you have any ideas, let me know in the comments, please. But this has been some super exciting news for 4 new books. I already backed the Kickstarter. I'm real excited. We're definitely gonna have another one of these on Friday, I guess, when we talk about the reveals from Thursday. So we'll see you then. The Kickstarter's not hard to find. It's they said it's the fastest Kickstarter to ever reach $4 million, and it's going way past that. So we'll see you guys on Friday. That's all I got for you today. It's been an emotional day. Bye.
We did solicit beta reads on these back in November, December, January. And so for the beta readers, we told them there was something new coming. And we gathered the group of them and then sent them each a different book, knowing that, in fact, we have some couples among the beta readers. We sent them different books from one another. They have some chat, various rooms where they congregate and talk about, the books they're reading and things like that. We did that knowing they were going to be super confused when they started mentioning the books they were reading and finding out that they were all different books. That was also a blast.
You are literally the devil.